Sir Francis Drake's Nova Albion, a 400-year-old mystery solved. Since 1976, the world has been misled about Sir Francis Drake's 1579 landing site and the authenticity of one of the greatest artifacts ever discovered, Drake's plate of brass. This is the radiograph of the plate of brass discovered by Beryl Shen in 1936. These are the views from where Drake's plate was discovered on Greenbrae Ridge. Testing of the plate was conducted using the most advanced scientific tests available and took more than 7 months to perform. On September 16, 1938, the scientists reported,
"It is our opinion that the brass plate examined by us is the genuine Drake plate referred to in the book, The World Encompassed by Sir Francis Drake, published in 1628.
In 1970, the Drake Navigators Guild began spreading a rumor that the plate was fake and part of a hoax. Without any evidence of a hoax, officials of UC Berkeley's Bancroft Library hired Dr. Cyril Stanley Smith to conduct a second examination of the plate.
I firmly believe that the evidence from the viewpoint of a material scientist is not sufficient to form a historical conclusion. None of my remarks should be taken as firm evidence of the modernity of the plate."
Dr. Smith was not at the worldwide press conference held by the Bancroft Library to reveal the results of the exam, and Dr. Smith's opinion was misquoted. The news media and people around the world were duped into believing that Drake's plate of brass was a fake. The only man who knew the truth was Mr. Robert Power, director of the California Historical Society and the leading authority on Drake's visit to Nova Albion. Mr. Power realized that officials of the Bancroft Library conspired with the Drake Navigators Guild to steal the plate for personal gain. Mr. Power knew they removed the real plate of brass and put a replica in its place. Unfortunately, Mr. Power did not succeed in bringing these men to justice. It was evident from Robert Power's private notes that plate of brass, which was discovered in 1936, had been replaced with a replica. This note provides the first written evidence that Mr. Power knew that the plate of brass discovered in 1936 had been replaced with a replica. From Dr. Cyril Stanley Smith's 1976 letter to the Bancroft Library Director James Hart about the set of missing tools used to create the inscription.
Perhaps the tools were from a small arsenal of tracers, chasers, and punches of the type used by silversmiths, rather than the smaller set of more rugged chisels that would have been used by a ship's mechanic.
In 2002, Robert Stupack recovered the set of missing tools referred to by Dr. Cyril Stanley Smith near the San Quentin landing site. These are the tracing tools. Highly skilled Spanish metalsmiths used tracers to form the pattern of the metal bezel of rings. Drake used these tools as a rough pattern for the vertical lines of the inscription of the plate. That's the inscription on the plate of brass above, and rollout of the tracers on modeling clay below. That's the rod.
On rod, the punch was used to make the periods.
The rod was also used to make the horizontal lines of the inscription and to strengthen the impression of the vertical lines made with the tracers. These are edges of the rod.
I certainly had the feeling that only the spike notch and the coin hole were shaped with the mechanic's rugged, V-shaped chisel. Perhaps the tools were from a small arsenal of tracers, chasers, and punches.
That's a crude smelter. Along Greenbrae Ridge, Robert Stupack discovered many broken smelters. This example represents the only unbroken lid and base, the hammering plate. After casting, The plate was sheared in order to improve its overall appearance and planished over the hammering plate to give it an older, more sophisticated appearance. Metal flaws from the hammering plate are clearly visible on the radiograph of the plate of brass. The Great Post. The World and Compass states that the plate of brass was nailed to a great post. Experts were unsure of what the Great Post represented. The Great Post was recovered by Mr. Stupack in 2005, within 50 feet of where Drake's plate was discovered in 1936. At first glance, the lines and marks carved into the Great Post appear to be placed randomly, but they are not. The white lines are the date June 17, 1579, in a combination of Roman numerals and English letters. The red lines spell the name Francis Drake. The other marks are ancient alchemy symbols that provide details of how Drake smelted tons of gold and silver. The locations of Nova Albion, the Lost Harbor, and the Tallowing Site have also been solved. Nova Albion is part of today's Marin County, California. This land is along San Francisco Bay, approximately 10 miles north of San Francisco. That's the location of the Lost Harbor. The World and Compass says that Drake reached 38.30 degrees north. His cipher is the number 72. This is the coordinates of today's Pickleweed Park in San Rafael. The Tallowing Site and the arrow on the marsh. The view from the Tallowing Site matches a historical sketch. Spikes matching the sketch were recovered. The arrow is made from dirt mounted 2 to 3 feet high. It points to Greenbrae Ridge. How the Golden Hind was moored. Rope passed through a hole drilled in rock and then tied around 2 45-inch iron spikes. This is the inset from the Hondius broadside map of 1595. This is the treasure map. Hondius broadside map inset compared to Google Earth image of Larkspur Landing. Maps in the 1500s were created as flat landscapes. To create a flat landscape, the artist only drew the outline of what he saw as opposed to the details of what he saw. These images show how this concept was applied to the Hondius map of Nova Albion. This is the Hondius broadside map image of the peninsula, compared to Google Earth image of Greenbrae Ridge. This is the comparison of Hondius map inset with the original topographic map of Greenbrae Ridge before residential development. Mr. Stupack has the artifacts/evidence which prove Drake's plate of brass was a true artifact, and the San Quentin Peninsula was where Drake made landfall in 1579. His goal is to correct world history that not all discoveries were made by scientists.